Okamoto has just done an interview with Dricus Du Plessis asking about Khamzat Chimaev and his win this past weekend. DDP goes into that as well as who he wants next for the title, Strickland or Khamzat Chimaev. I've written this video 6 times now, so let's hopefully we nail it this time, and we'll get right into it.
So obviously the conversations were more on fighting Strickland, but there was a very big reason no contract's been signed. And I'm saying this as an opinion. I agreed. I said, I'll fight Strickland. Perfect. And that's the fight the fans want. But if you go on what the fans want right now, it's definitely not the Strickland fight. And if you ask me, what do I want? I want to fight the best guy. I want to fight the guy the fans want me to fight. And that 100% is Khamzat. Now, if they give me...
So, Dricus Du Plessis immediately says he wants to fight Khamzat Chimaev. This is not something you see from a champion usually if they think that's a tougher fight. Yeah, we saw this with Eddie Alvarez. He wanted the Conor McGregor fight on his last contract, so he didn't even get the red panty night just because he wanted to avoid Khabib Nurmagomedov because he knew he would definitely lose to him. DDP, on the other hand, knows for... Okay, I don't know if Strickland's an easier fight for sure, but he knows he's at least on the level of Sean Strickland. For Khamzat Chimaev, on the other hand, there's an uncertainty. A lot of fans think that he's unbeatable. A lot of fans think that he's unstoppable, that he can't be beat, the hype, the aura, the everything. Dricus Du Plessis wants to take all of that and absorb it and eat it up for himself. He wants Khamzat Chimaev. He knows he has a very fan-friendly mindset, let's be honest here. With Dricus Du Plessis, his mind is basically how a fan's mind works. He knows for a fact that like the biggest fight in the division is Khamzat Chimaev. It's the fight that fans are most excited for, and that's the fight that he wants the most. A real fan-friendly guy, for the people, by the people. DDP. Anyway, he doesn't just want to fight Khamzat Chimaev. He's willing to fight him anywhere to make sure that the fight definitely happens, as he goes into right now.
He wants to do it. You know, I know he has some traveling issues. I don't know the extent of those issues, but you know, I'll fly wherever I need to get that fight. I'll fight him in his hometown. I don't know where he resides currently, but I'll go there and we can fight there. That's the fight the fans want to see, and you know, for my legacy, that's the fight I want.
So immediately he mentions legacy here. He knows for his legacy, Khamzat's a bigger fight than Strickland. Strickland's a win that he will always have on his resume. As the passage of time passes onwards, everyone will just think, okay, so he beat Strickland fair and square. And I thought he did beat Strickland, but a lot of people think Strickland will not fight as well. It's a very, very close fight. If you watch that fight, you know for a fact it's like a split decision either direction. But Dricus Du Plessis knows the biggest fight for his legacy is Khamzat Chimaev. And not only that, he also knows that Khamzat Chimaev might have some restrictions that stop him from leaving the Middle Eastern. He was willing to go there, to his home turf, despite being the champion. Even though the UFC has been saying they want to go to South Africa for like 2 years at this point, I feels like. He's willing to go to the Middle East, go to Khamzat Chimaev's home turf, have that disadvantage on top of him, and then still fight Khamzat Chimaev. He really wants this fight. It's not just about the money. Because with a lot of these champions, you gotta think about this, right? Having a fight that makes you less money, but you're more confident in winning, is still gonna get you a bigger bank account. Because that eventual fight for the bigger money will happen. Like he knows if he fights Strickland first, he'll get pay-per-view points, rack in the money, then fight Khamzat for the bigger fight, and rack in some more money. The pay-per-view points go away if he loses to Khamzat Chimaev. He doesn't care though. He wants a legacy fight. He wants the toughest fight. Chad Dricus Du Plessis. I think he has a really good shot at beating Khamzat Chimaev in my opinion. Anyway, now he goes into about who he thinks the next best guy is in the division, I believe. Outside of himself, of course, because he thinks he is number one.
So for me, it's only about one thing, and it is who is the next best guy. The baddest guy out there. That's the guy I want to fight. So right now, people are, thinking that Khamzat is the next best guy. But there's only one best guy, and that's me. So I want to prove that once again. And obviously, if you look at the amount of people that's going to watch a fight, there's more people that are going to want to watch me versus Khamzat than me versus Strickland.
All those things are true that what he just said right now. He thinks the next best guy is Khamzat Chimaev. He wants to fight the next best guy. I don't think this is one of those scenarios where he's like, okay, I had a fight with Strickland. It was so close. It could have gone either way. Khamzat's the next best guy and lie about it. No, I think he actually does think that. I think the fans agree with him as well. I think the fans think Khamzat's the next best guy. I think Strickland, for the most part, I think he did very well and he's a very good fighter himself. But for the most part, Khamzat Chimaev is the guy that's destroying people. Or is he? I mean, he did destroy Robert Whittaker and a lot of other guys, but against Usman and Gilbert Burns, he had close fights. And Dricus Du Plessis, to end off with his statement just there, did mention the fact that the fight the fans want the most is the Khamzat Chimaev fight. It's the fight. It's the fight. Everyone knows it's the fight. No one wants to wait. Like, the thing with this is, a lot of times you'll see a fighter like go up in the rankings and they'll be like, okay, so he's fighting Pedro Munoz next. Let's quickly get this fight over and done with, and maybe he can turn around in 3 months and fight someone that we really want to see him fight. That's kind of what I don't want to happen here. And if it does happen, I hope it happens in January, so we can build up to the Khamzat fight immediately going to next year. But DDP, you know, he just wants to fight Khamzat because that's what the fans want. And let's just make it happen. Like, Dana White, the contract hasn't been signed between Strickland and Dricus Du Plessis, as he mentioned before. There's no contract that's been signed. We don't know if the fight next is going to be Strickland or Khamzat. So just make it be Khamzat. If he can leave the Middle East, give DDP what he wants, and what he wants is Khamzat Chimaev, not Sean Strickland. Sean Strickland can have one more fight in the meantime to really earn that title shot. Anyway, now DDP goes into it himself, actually. He goes into it himself, saying that who he thinks deserves the next title shot. So let's get right into that one.
That is the number 2 middleweight in the world.
Well, I'm gonna answer that this way. Sean Strickland beat Paulo Costa in a very boring fight. Robert Whittaker went out there with an amazing performance against Paulo Costa. Got rocked, came back, made it look easy. Took a fight against Khamzat. You know, then got a change in opponent fight week, made it look easy.
Right now, he's just explaining why he thinks Robert Whittaker was more deserving than Strickland, which I completely agree with, by the way. Strickland beat Paulo Costa, who was 1-3 coming into that fight. Afterwards, he's 1-4. He's lost to every single top 5 guy in the division, it feels like. He's kind of the gatekeeper now. You beat Costa, you fight someone in the top 5. He's no longer, you know, I feel like he's just lazier now than he used to be. That's Paulo Costa. Rob Whittaker, on the other hand, also beat Costa in a much more exciting fight than Strickland did. It was closer than the Strickland fight, but for the fans, we all preferred that fight, I think we can all agree. And then he went on to beat Nasruddin. Not Nasruddin, what am I saying? He beat, what's his name? Askarov. I believe? Yeah? Ikram Askarov, yep. He beat him on a short notice when Khamzat Chimaev pulled out of the fight. Then he was scheduled to fight Khamzat Chimaev. And then we go on from there.
So that automatically puts him above Strickland in my mind. And a rematch against Strickland also didn't really get me that excited. I knew how to beat him and I would do it again. So Khamzat comes out there, puts on... So if Khamzat beat Whittaker by decision, that wouldn't warrant him leapfrogging Sean Strickland.
Again, the fan-friendly mindset of Dricus Du Plessis. He's actually going out of his way to make arguments for Khamzat Chimaev, the guy that everyone thinks is going to be champion by the end of next year. He's actually going out of his way to make arguments for the guy that everyone thinks will destroy and run the middleweight division for the foreseeable future. And one of the main reasons he says that is because apparently Strickland had a very boring fight. He does say, however, if Khamzat Chimaev maybe has a close fight with Robert Whittaker, barely wins by decision, then he thinks Strickland would be above him. And I think I would agree with him. But the fact that Khamzat Chimaev did what he did to Robert Whittaker, it puts him above Sean Strickland, who's only beaten Paulo Costa still, by the way, in a boring fight. Didn't look too impressive in that fight. He won most of the fight, for sure, but in terms of impressiveness, wasn't very impressive at all, in my opinion. So yeah, I think this makes complete sense. I think DDP is speaking the fans' language right now, and I think he should be appreciated a bit more, because I don't see other champions doing this, going out of their way to make fights like these happen. Let's continue on, though.
But doing what he did, the way he did it, it's hard to deny the man that he deserves the shot. And for me personally, once again, he is right now, because before that, like you said, he hasn't beaten the top of the division, but now he has. Sean Strickland hasn't beaten Robert Whittaker. Khamzat has. And Whittaker has been at the top of that division for very, very long.
It's true. Sean Strickland has beaten Adesanya, though, but you gotta think about it like this, right? Just because Strickland beat Adesanya doesn't mean he gets to have that on his resume forever. Like, sure, you beat Adesanya, you got the belt, you lost the belt, then you beat Paulo Costa. So, it's not like before he beat Adesanya that Strickland was on this undefeated streak, beating everyone in his way. No, he was losing to Cannonier and Alex Pereira in the first round. That's what he was doing before he fought Israel Adesanya. Now that he's beaten Paulo Costa, let's get one more win in there. Chao Barao or an Adesanya rematch. Either of those wins will get you a title shot. And then you could be next in line after DDP versus Khamzat Chimaev. I think that makes perfect sense to me. DDP is saying a lot of the right things in my opinion. Khamzat Chimaev has just beaten Robert Whittaker. Strickland has just beaten Paulo Costa. Strickland lost his fight before that one against DDP. Beat Izzy, beat a couple of guys that were barely in the, like, Abus, Imavov, you know what I mean? Before that was losing to Cannonier and Pereira back to back. Like, let's calm it down, Strickland. One more win, then you can have a title shot. For now, DDP's logic makes complete sense, and it's really quite fascinating that he's actually making arguments for Khamzat Chimaev, and I think I know the reason why, and he'll go into it right now. It's more than just money, in my opinion. I think he knows for a fact that he'll be perceived in a very different light if he beats Khamzat Chimaev than he would if he beat Strickland. Let's go straight into it.
And this is just me spitballing. I beat Robert Whittaker, then I beat Sean Strickland, then I beat Israel Adesanya, then I beat Khamzat Chimaev. That warrants a double title fight. And I think that might just be it.
That's what he wants. This is about legacy. This is not just about, paydays and win streak and then Instagram followers and the fame and all that. DDP lives in South Africa. He's a big fan base in South Africa. I went to his last fight against Adesanya. A big community from South Africa showed up in planes, in hordes, to watch that fight. He has a big population there that love him. He doesn't care about that stuff. He wants the legacy. He has money. He knows he'll continue to have money. He's been a champion. He probably has a huge a paycheck, like $500,000 at least to fight, right? At this point. He wants the legacy fight. He wants to be considered the GOAT of the sport. He knows the steps that he must take to get to Alex Pereira for a double title shot. I don't think he should fight Alex Pereira if he beats Khamzat. I think he should defend his title one more time. Have 3 title defenses, maybe against the winner of Strickland and Chow Barao, let's just say. If he beats Khamzat, then go on and have this massive legacy fight, double champ status, be one of the only fighters to have 2 belts at the same time, defend his title 3 times, which is like the benchmark for a great champion, like a historically great champion. Do all those things, and I think that's why he was doing this. The way that his body language is, he wants the legacy fight, he wants the toughest fight, he wants Khamzat Chimaev. And I'm just going to go back to the start of this interview, by the way, because at the start he does break down the fight between Khamzat Chimaev and Robert Whittaker, and he goes on about some of the ways that he would be able to fight Khamzat, as well as some of the mentalities that other fighters have when they're fighting Khamzat, which is overall leading to their downfall, in my opinion, and his opinion, obviously. So let's just listen to that.
Would have the strength advantage in that fight. Now, Whittaker being super technical, but as far as brute strength goes, he's just not that much of force. Where you can see with Khamzat fights, he has that strength force. And maybe that's why he also gets tired in a lot of his fights, or when it goes past the second round.
DDP is saying the things that all the fans are saying. Khamzat Chimaev clearly does tire out after the second round. Even after the first round, he's not the same in the second as the first, but he is still very good in the second round. DDP clearly says that Robert Whittaker did not have the strength advantage. He's very technical, but if Khamzat Chimaev wants to take down Robert Whittaker, hold him down, control him, he can do that. In my opinion, I feel like a lot of the times they fight, Robert Whittaker's teeth just aren't so childishly weak that they just snap onto themselves. I just don't think that happens every single time. I think DDP knows that. I think he knows for a fact he's got a far stronger jaw, not even jaw, just teeth in general, than Robert Whittaker does. And that's why he's got an advantage. But then DDP talks about some of the defensive mindset that a lot of fighters have fighting Khamzat. I don't think DDP will have this mindset just by the fact that he's mentioning it, and the fact that when you watch DDP fight, he's a very aggressive dude. Like, he's got power in his hand, he's pushing forward, nothing's stopping him. Like, gassed or not gassed, he's pushing forward. Let's listen.
If you have a defensive mindset, you're going to be on the back foot the whole time, especially with an offensive heavy fighter like Khamzat in the offensive wrestling stage, and myself in offensive everything stage. So I think that I'll be very careful to say that would be the way to approach a fight like that. I think, in a fight like that, when somebody's coming to fight you the way Khamzat does, you go out and you fight him. If he comes to wrestle you, wrestle him back. If you just defend, there's not a scenario where he's threatened at all. And that's what we saw with Rob. Rob being technically very, very good. But there wasn't a stage where he even threatened with a submission, whether it be a submission with a strike or just...
All these things are true that he's saying right now. Like, with Khamzat Chimaev, when he's pushing forward, like with the strength and the power and everything that they bring to you, when he takes you down, a lot of fighters will just try to survive, they'll try to roll through, they'll try to do this, that, throw up submissions. they don't really throw up submissions. They're not going for those triangle chokes. They're scared that Khamzat Chimaev is just better than them. He's just so strong. They feel the force immediately. And DDP's correct. When Khamzat Chimaev is pushing forward, I don't think DDP's going to be backing off, thinking, okay, let me just survive the first round. Let me just survive the second round. Let me just see if I don't get submitted, don't get brutalized in the first or second round. Look at Gilbert Burns. Gilbert Burns bought the fight to Khamzat Chimaev, and what happened? That was one of the best fights of the year. It was a massive brawl. They went all over the cage, really, on the ground up. Khamzat Chimaev didn't shoot many takedowns because, first of all, I think he feared the grappling of Gilbert Burns. But second of all, I think in the later rounds, he was a bit tired himself. I don't think he would have got those takedowns later in the fight. Same with Usman. Couldn't get the takedowns later in the fight. And if he could, Usman got right back up. After a minute and a half of control time, he got right back up in the third round. And when Kamaru Usman pushed the pressure on Khamzat Chimaev, what happened? Striking, jab. Khamzat Chimaev was eating more jabs than he was giving, for sure, in that third round. I'm picking Dricus Du Plessis to win. Let me just sneak that into this video. I think Dricus Du Plessis will beat Khamzat Chimaev. I think he has the pressure. He has a Chad mentality. And I feel like he just doesn't stop. Like, he is not one of those fighters that'll just accept defeat. I don't think Rob Whittaker is that kind of fighter. I don't think Usman, I think Burns is. But especially Dricus Du Plessis. You look at him, he will find a way. He's more complete of a fighter than I think he's given credit for. His wrestling's really good. His anti-jiu-jitsu is really good. His striking's really good. And the power in his hand, very good. His chin also underrated, I feel like. I don't think he's been rocked that many times that I can remember at all against Adesanya, Whittaker, anyone. And now, finally, I'm going to end this video on this. The biggest advantage that Khamzat Chimaev has over all his opponents is the huge brutish strength that he has. Like, he is stronger than you. He's bigger than you. Dricus Du Plessis is very strong, and I don't think he could make welterweight if his life depended on it. He is shredded to the bone at 185. A massive dude. Let's listen to it.
When it comes to strength, there's not even a doubt in my mind that, Khamzat is a strong guy, but I know for a fact that he's never felt power like this. Now, when it comes to his wrestling, obviously that's his strong suit and where he likes to take a fight, and I would welcome that if I had to fight him. Let's meet strengths and see who can last. I think the fact that he always fights with his strength, he uses that strength, that's why he gets tired. But you can say the same about me. And at the end of the day, it's going to come down to who's willing to give up and who's willing to die. And then, that question's I've answered that question many, many times.
Dricus, okay, I'm going to end the video here, but Dricus Du Plessis just mentioned the fact that the two of them he wants to go blow for blow with Khamzat Chimaev in terms of strength. Apparently, he says that Khamzat Chimaev has never fought anyone as strong as Dricus Du Plessis, and I don't think he's wrong whatsoever, by the way. I think Dricus Du Plessis is an abnormally strong guy. If you listen to Darren Till, some of his interviews, he says that Dricus was a strangely powerful dude, really strong. And Darren Till says he was clearly just weaker than DDP was. DDP is a real strong dude. Khamzat Chimaev so far has been able to bully a lot of these guys. A lot of welterweights he's bullied around as well. A lot of skinny welterweights that have not been Gilbert Burns or Kamaru Usman that he's actually been able to dominate. Dricus Du Plessis ain't that. He can't make welterweight like you, little man. You know what I mean? Like, he ain't making welterweight. He's a middleweight for life. He couldn't make welterweight if he tried. He'd have to lose a leg to do it. He wants to test his strength against Khamzat. And also one more thing. The fact that Dricus Du Plessis is so open about the way that he's challenging out Khamzat Chimaev. He's actively giving the UFC promo. Like, I can just see it now. Like, a video cuts, like, there's like a little bit of a sound bite that they add in. I want to test my strength against the Khamzat Chimaev. We'll go blow to blow. I bet you he's never felt anything like me before. Amazing stuff. And I think it's true. I don't think Khamzat Chimaev knows what it's like to take down a guy that's just infinitely stronger. Like, you hear these stories about Gustafsson being taken down, like all these other people, these massive dudes apparently that Khamzat Chimaev just ragdolls around. I'm sure Dricus Du Plessis could do the same. Maybe not against, I wouldn't be surprised if he could take down Gustafsson. He wants to move to light heavyweight when he's out of camp at his full body size. I wouldn't be surprised if he's able to wrestle with Gustafsson, especially nowadays. I don't think it's going to be too hard to do. I think Khamzat Chimaev's in for a rude awakening. I think Khamzat Chimaev will go out there and win the first round. No matter who he fights, give him the first round. But I think this first round won't look the same. I think Dricus Du Plessis will make sure that he pushes forward, does some damage to Khamzat. Khamzat will eventually get the takedown. Dricus Du Plessis will be fighting, throwing strikes off of his back. Khamzat Chimaev will be like getting up. Remember when Gilbert Burns threw those hammer fists against Khamzat Chimaev when he was on the ground? Khamzat Chimaev was like, oh shit, that doesn't feel too good. Got right back up and led Gilbert Burns up as well. Dricus Du Plessis, in my opinion, is going to beat Khamzat Chimaev. And in this video, if there's anything that he displayed, he is willing, like he went in on the mindset. Like he knows, he's basically told Khamzat Chimaev he will be pushing forward. Come at me, I'll come at you. Try to take me down, motherfucker. That's basically what he just said to him. He was just his strength against Khamzat. I wouldn't be surprised if DDP is stronger than Khamzat, to be honest. Like, he's a freakishly strong guy. Like, head and arm through Robert Whittaker. And I know Khamzat Chimaev took down Robert Whittaker as well, but I think Khamzat Chimaev is getting real cocky about the fact that he can take down anyone. I think DDP is a real big dude in the middleweight division. I think he's someone that I can see going up to light heavyweight and not being one of those guys that's just like that just becomes fat all of a sudden. You know what I mean? Like Anthony Smith did. I think this guy's a really good chance of beating Khamzat, and I think this fight would be huge. If this interview tells me anything though, DDP isn't scared. He wants Khamzat. Give him Khamzat. That's the fight I want to see. Like, share, and subscribe. I'll see you next time. I have 88 subscribers. Let's give it to 90. Just 2 more. Just do it. I'll see you guys later.